your spirit. We're gonna do this rather quickly. It's 1440, March 2nd, 2026. I want to tell you how I got here and why people continue to exhibit a certain level of fear concerning me. Uh, okay. When I began on the live streaming uh, journey, I would call myself a compassionate assassin. And my north is my true north. Compassion is what tilts my axis, so that I seek to do no harm while seeking justice. Again, I am no one's vigilante. So through the years, I have exhibited a remarkable amount of compassion, and I realized that it was taking a toll on my big heart, and I wanted to be here for a lot longer than just my children's existence, so to speak. So I began putting my principles into practice. You can find that on Buy Me a Coffee. You can keep a beat with me. And I go from being a compassionate person to a compassionate assassin, which is killing them with my compassion, simultaneously keeping up my boundaries and standards. So I'm no longer getting hurt by the people who are seeking to do me harm or some type of injustice. Okay. Then I file for my divorce and I get away from the person that I spoke about this morning. And I realize I'm outside and alone, and no one knows how much danger I'm really in except me. So I begin training to be an assassin, mostly because I needed to get my weight up. If you look at that, I do not have the muscle mass that I do today. I don't even have the body fat then that I do today. So I have been able to gain some body fat and redistribute some of the collagen and elasticity in my skin. Side note. So I realized that I'm going to be dating. I have no reason not to once my divorce is final. And I tell the truth. Listen, I'm a woman who believes in her gun rights. I smoke cannabis. And I would love for a first date to be, you know, not a first meeting, a first date to be, coffee, cannabis, the gun range, some type of social event or whatever, and then back to our separate, corners to reflect on some shit. That's where phone calls come in. Like, man, I had a really good time. I appreciate that. The normal dating things, just mostly during the day, and it has nothing to do with my age and everything to do with the fact that I'm a chef by trade. And when I was dating, I only had like from 8 in the morning until 1 or 2, depending on what shift I was working that evening. And then I was a student too, and a mother, and so you had to catch me, honey. I slowed down a lot, more making it more comfortable for me. I'm not someone who's big on technology. 1444 on the clock. And that's because being a war widow, I was tethered to a device for the better part of 20 years, which is why I understood what was happening out here simultaneously. It's also the reason I don't exhibit Stockholm syndrome underneath the social media addiction because I was already sick of a fucking telephone. I just was tired of it. Forgive my potty mouth and the no live berry, but honey, your children hear worse, on their way to the bathroom, to be honest. But today, I was gonna say, who wants to come train for me to be a spiritual assassin? This is one of those things that people don't recognize that they need to get their weight up on. You need to protect your spirit, your mood, your sense of well being, your sense of safety. Black people are doing an excellent job of exhibiting this at this time. So they really don't need that portion of my spiritual counseling. What they need is some awareness around the fact that their religion is not the only religion and they ain't the only ones getting in, and some of them might not get in. That's what that is. The Catholics have accepted, but I say they be laughing at me now because they put it aside. The things that they have been ritualizing, they put it aside or they're working on it. There are others who understand, though, that an homage to an ancestor or past over loved one is something that they're missing in their own lives. I can help them establish some basics, but when we get into the truth of it, your spiritual journey is your religious journey. You're not meant to get stuck in one of those spaces. The way that I said it's kindergarten, I'm sorry, apologies, elementary, middle school, junior high, and in high school. And then you work on your spirit. Today, that's for the people who have not done this my way, starting from here forward. From here forward, it's very simple. You work on your id, your ego, your super ego while you are studying anything. Don't get caught up in believing that you are God, that they are God, or that you are somehow a child in this experience. This is your life. You live in it. You are studying these things to get a better understanding of who you are as a human being. When you look up, today is the second. So 3 and 2 is 5, and 5 and 10 is 15, which is 6. 6. Remember, I told you you flip it. So that's to one, it's to live. But two, when you turn it into a nine, nine becomes born. That's you being born again by you deciding to turn your life around and focus on living a better, more holistic, clean life, whether you want to put God on it or not. It's understanding that you are more in control than the Most High God is of your day to day existence because you're allowing the Most High God to take care of other things. For example, I don't worry about my basic needs being met because I know the Most High God will make sure that they're always met. Simultaneously, I think about the things that others haven't even considered God being able to create and or meet. And I share those things with you. That's the message. That's what I'm here to do. Philosopher, so to speak. But my father told me no one get paid to think. It's up to you to show them wrong. Your professors and doctors and whatever get paid for their mental capacities. Why should not I? So when I put these things around and you don't pay, you verify him, you validate him. I don't need your validation, so I don't worry about it. That's how we get to the point where you have to be validated as an entire nation, and I am valid as one individual. Where you rise and fall with Donald Trump, I stand alone in this thing. Integrity, integrity. I stood on my principles, my morals and convictions, and I tested my biases. I was willing to take a hit where I didn't understand something simultaneously. My belief system is my belief system, and it's not predicated on any one religion. It's predicated on the understanding that I am a human this being that exists on this planet, and it is my job to do the least amount of harm to the person next to me, especially if the person next to me is one of my own freaking children. So that's why we are a unit of four amazing individuals, despite everything that we've been through. I raised them to keep a beat with me throughout history. Simultaneously, I learned so much from my children, just letting them exist. They're amazing human beings. They impress me in ways that they don't know about. Just being loving, human. Variant versions of masculinity at that. Each one of them, though, willing to protect those they love them. One of them even bought a katana and a air assault gun in there. We had discussions on both. When you're old enough to do whatever it is, I hope that you'll have the understanding necessary to use those things, should you have to. Otherwise, practice. There's nothing wrong with that. Just remember, not on people and not on cats. Hopefully, people will begin to do the right thing. Because it's the right thing to do. We'll see. Anyway, come be a compassionate assassin. Learn to carry your own weight. I'm going to pick up, I think, some type of, well, I've been working on my own martial art, so to speak. It'd be cool if I had someone to practice with. When I want to say this, because here it exists. When it comes down to being with someone you love and loving the one that you're with, 11:11 on the clock, you have to remember that it's all about commitment. No matter how much there may be someone waiting in the wings for one or both of you, you've chosen to commit your lives to one another, right? That means recognizing that there are people out there who love your person as much as you do, that they're willing to fight for them too. So you have to ensure that those people and your person always remember that you love them that much. There's this song, I think it's by Money Long. She says, "Make me forget." The person who can make me forget the trauma and abuse that I've experienced and the people around me, to the point where they're being held harmless and life feels safe again, where the people around me are there to protect me in the event of, rather than me being under imminent danger all the time. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, but that's only because how do you diagnose um, being targeted a- as a medical diagnosis? That's what we're working on, right? And how to treat it. I use cannabis. The metrics outside of the use of cannabis, that is basic medicine, general practice. The mental health portion of it, though, is what it is. We have to change that we do mental health, the way we do mental health in this country. An adorable book today. Um, uh, and you know what? Let's go for a little bitty walk. We're not going to bother the library people, but I'm going to show you real quick. I feel like this is one of the things that if the library has created this and this is the metric, there's no other standard, this should be the standard. At least from a starting point. Let's see if my camera, let's see if this camera. Look, okay, so the title of the book is Navigating Difficult Situations in Public Libraries. Okay, turn back around. Put this down. Okay, we go. There's also a book here on library technology companion. Like if you've never worked with computers and whatnot, it's a sure. It's kind of a thicker book though. But we'll talk about that. Anyway, okay. Um, what I've been doing out here for the past 6 years is helping people to learn how to navigate difficult situations in the communication spaces, no matter what the communication space. That's why I say that it's expansive, what it is that I'm working on. But when you consider that people communicate in a number of ways, computers, phones, different types of code, different words mean different things depending on what region you're from. My ability to communicate that in just this type of situation, this setting, by way of one book and a story is something that I have perfected through the years. Um, my research is in human growth and development, and now robotic technology development, and some of the other catalysts for us getting up out of here. And I am thankful to those who are willing to give me credit where credit is due because it's one of the things that's long overdue. Simultaneously, let me explain. Um, we learn that children in the beginning need 25 words or less, up to, I think it's 0 to 3. And from 3 to 6, we can get up to 25 sentences, I think it is. And then we go from 25 sentences to 25 minutes when we hit autonomy. We stay at 25 to 30 minutes up through about our middle school years where we can focus for that amount of time on verbiage, right? We're talking about just the words. We're talking about the other things. So when you're creating a curriculum for anybody, really, you need to keep these things in mind. We need to make a 1 hour block of class time that includes all of the ways of learning that we know today, what we would call picture pages, so to speak, and present it in that way. I do that by word of mouth, keeping these things under 25 minutes and painting a very vivid picture for your mind to do the rest. Yet, when we're talking about public education or printing something for the masses, it has to be that fantastic, which is why graphic novels work great with young men specifically. It's a visual brain splash, and then they can go back and peruse it for little bits of wonderfulness. And because we tend to read those things over and over again, then we pick up something new each time, and it refines the mind. So here it is, that I'm 50, and that's 20 something years. Hold it, stop. Yeah, so 30 years of building this metric on my own and understanding what I was attempting to do. Each of my elder two were diagnosed on the spectrum, and the youngest one was a preemie. So I used every bit. I studied the New York ADA versus the federal standard. I studied um, ADHD, autism. I studied the school to prison pipeline, which is now the school to prison to industry pipeline. I did all of those things. And I continuously spoke my truth about what it was that I was seeing, witnessing, and or doing and why. By the time that Cameron comes along, I guess this is about 2009-ish. No, earlier, 6. Before I have the surgery, but after I see him in pink, that's when I begin to pull away from a lot of things and a lot of my own conservative values, uh, because I just see where the world is heading, and not to um, be biased based on my personal beliefs. I begin to buoy between different news organizations and whatnot, making decisions on where I was headed in my own journey. Yeah. So that's it. And that's how we get to this point in history where no one can tell me how to do me specifically and why I can see my stuff coming back at me when it's been stolen from me. No one has the inner metrics, workings, or ability to do this. They can't do it nearly as quickly, not even with AI generated assistance. It has to all make sense for them to put in the appropriate calculation. Because AI, yeah, it's not even AI. It's advanced intelligence of humans being put into computers for calculation. Okay, and then it generates an image. That's the artificial image, not artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the computer's ability to create on its own intellectual things or intelligent information, so to speak. You have to code that in, and if you think that just before COVID hit. They were just started. Oh, 2009. 2009 is when we begin to see us going from the barcode scanning to someone putting that information in a universal code, which is what your UPC is. So you got a universal code, right? Someone put that in the computer for around the globe, okay? That universal code is then uploaded by way of Google into a much larger mainframe. Basically, right now, honey, it's the cloud, and then that is collected and beamed out. So once the information has to be exactly accurate, though. So, say for instance, a banana's UPC is 4011. I learned that in 2000. Oh my God. Anyway, I know it today. I used to hear them damn things beeping in my head at night. But okay, a banana's UPC is 4011, but a lemon's I think is 4044. And if you put in a banana for a lemon, it will go up into the blockchain, so to speak, and you'll have a lemon. The larger one being on the front end of the node, the smaller one being called the light node, and on the back end of the node. Make sense? Okay. Then you got a hybrid, and the two originals don't exist in that part of the blockchain, right? They're still over there in the archives. So you got plenty of bananas, but now you got lemons that only exist right here. You got to have a lot of lemon mistakes, or know that there's a lemon node, so that you can go over to it and organize it appropriately, so that it can be a part of the original node, and you can get rid of it in the chain. Okay, that's a whole lot of math, science, and other stuff. You get what I'm saying? Most of you kept the beat with all of that up until I got to the noted portions. You can see both my hands. You understand what I was saying there too. This is rapid fire learning. This is otherwise getting your collegiate level GED in fifth grade chemistry. Like you can now teach fifth grade chemistry even if you in fifth grade. When you graduate from fifth grade, you can go on and teach chemistry. You won't be having, because remember, id, ego, super ego, one, two, three. So first you got knowledge, wisdom, and then understanding, right? So we're doing all of that by refining the information, right? And then just taking what is specific, and I'm giving it to you now in less than 25 minutes. So if I were to end this, and then each of you who has a appropriate um, branches of study were to add on another, say, 20 minutes by way of visualization and other things, or pluck out the few minutes that matter to your whatever and build an entire 1 hour podcast around that ish, giving my motherfucking credit. Hell yeah, we could be teaching the masses and be off to the galaxies in the next 5 to 10 years instead of the next 10 to 50. It's up to humanity. There's no way that this can't be done globally and or immediately. When I was a little girl and the Challenger was going up, we had a space classroom. We sat there every day and we learned something scientific. We learned what they were going to do. It was cool to see a teacher going into space. Now we got celebrities. Not even close to, not even close to this. Diminishing return on investment is what that's called. Talk about it next time, perhaps. You remind me by leaving comments and stuff. It'll help.